Probably a good thing they called the Keystone State because Pennsylvania is key to winning the presidency and getting those electoral votes that could put either candidate over 270. Madeline Dean is the Pennsylvania Democratic Congresswoman, kind enough to join us right now. Congresswoman, obviously both candidates spend an enormous amount of time in your beautiful state, and yet the polls remain tight as a tick. How would you describe that and why that's happening? After all of this, I mean, we're kind of dead even.
Well, and thanks for having me on, Neil. I'm sitting here in Montgomery County at a coordinated headquarters for this election cycle. The enthusiasm is high. The number of new people coming in to volunteer is extraordinary. The number of young people, and I will say particularly young women, who are engaged in this election because they have seen what has happened to their freedoms, is high. I don't explain the polls. I just say this is going to be a very close election. If you take a look at Pennsylvania's voter registration, we have about a little under 4 million registered Democrats, about 3.5 million registered Republicans, so we're quite purple. And then there are several 100,000 independents. So this is going to remain close. You saw what happened in the last two elections. Mr. Trump won Pennsylvania by only 44,000 votes across the entire Commonwealth in 2016. Mr. Biden won it here with 80,000 votes. My prediction is, while this remains close, in these next 51 days, we want to prove that we will be the Keystone State again, and I bet Montgomery County will be the key to that keystone, where we will show a margin greater than even Mr. Biden's.
If Kamala Harris hadn't emerged as the Democratic nominee and the party had stuck with Joe Biden, had he maybe pushed that debate he wanted with Donald Trump into the fall rather than the summer, it would be very different right now, wouldn't it? Wouldn't those polls be very different?
I don't know, to be honest. I do know that I am so proud of our president for making that courageous and selfless choice. And that's what is so stark about these two campaigns, whether
it wasn't as if it was courageous as much as he was kind of pushed. He didn't jump, right?
Well, actually, no, I think he was very thoughtful about it. I spoke with the White House. I spoke with the campaign in the days leading up to his decision. He was extremely thoughtful about it. But how selfless it was to say, I can't risk this. We cannot risk another Trump presidency. You're a business guy, and I admire you. I love that interview you just did with Steve. Take a look at what Mr. Trump is promising. He's promising tariffs, and he's promising mass deportation of workers. That will be incredibly inflationary.
The Biden administration has just spread more tariffs against Chinese goods. You're quite right, not nearly to the degree that Donald Trump wants to push them. But everyone seems to be in tariffs. They're very popular right now to sort of go after, in this case, China. Are we doubling down on something that could come back to hit us in the hiney?
Well, I don't know. That's a good way of putting it. I don't know about that, but I do know that
that's an economic term, just so you know, Congresswoman. But go ahead.
Okay, I was an English major, but I do care about the economy. And I love what has happened under Biden-Harris with our economy. Take a look at where inflation is. We are the envy of the G7. We're at 2.5% and cooling even more. Take a look at what the Fed will likely do in the coming days. Interest rates will be coming down. That means costs will be coming down. If somehow Mr. Trump were reelected and did mass deportations of workers, that will be incredibly inflationary. Costs will go up and interest rates will go up. Fortunately, I don't believe that will happen, and I believe Pennsylvania will make the difference.
So let me real quickly just put a cap on this. Inflation, you're right, has come down mightily from where it was, but it is still up from when Joe Biden first came into office. There are a lot of reasons and variations for that. But what Republicans are pounding is that it is still expensive. You go to the grocery store, and it is still a hassle. And that Kamala Harris's message is more or less the saying, well, what you just emphasized, Congresswoman, which is all valid, that the trend is the friend, but the record from when the Trump administration ended and the Biden began, that's still a problem. That inflation jump since then is still a huge problem.
Absolutely. There are multiple factors that you know are impacting that. But I want to go back and say, what did we do in the last Congress, in the 117th Congress, in order to bring folks' prices down? We passed many, many bills, and you see us now with a Republican majority that we're not passing anything. We don't even have a budget. So we have brought prices down. We've brought the prices of prescription drugs down. The things that we have done, Democrats in the majority, and when we go back into the majority, will continue to put pressure on prices.
Okay, Congresswoman, great seeing you. Not too bad, by the way, for an English major. Big, fancy Congresswoman now and all of that.
Thank you.
Very good
I like
seeing
learning
you.
from you, Neil.
Yeah,
Take care.
if only, right? Good luck on that. Very good seeing you, Congresswoman. We'll be following very closely what's happening in your state and all these other battleground states. It's amazing. All 7 are kind of within the margin of error. I don't believe we've seen that, at least in recent campaign history.